Let's take a look now at Apple. Shares of the world's largest company by market cap dropped to their lowest level since reaching an all-time high in February.
Joining us now to discuss is our senior markets correspondent, Julie Hyman. Julie, thanks so much. The retreat yesterday. Apple went below the 200-day moving average yesterday.
It did, which is basically just a technical indicator that people watch, sort of a momentum indicator. I actually have it on my Bloomberg terminal if we can pull it up. It's a yellow line. That's how we map it on the terminal. So you can see it's the second straight day we've gone below it. The green sort of bracketed line that we're showing is the correction that we now see in Apple shares. So they've fallen more than 10%. That's typically a correction. I was looking back at the last couple of times we've seen Apple fall by at least 10%. The last time it went below the 200-day moving average, which was 471 days ago, because that's the period of time between the two events. And after that, it went down a little more than 10% and then snapped back. But back in 2012, we saw a more significant pullback in Apple of more than 40%. So it went down considerably more at that point before snapping back and going higher.
We haven't hit the, I have on my terminal right now the chart as well, and in pink I've got the 50-day moving average. In green I've got the 200-day moving average. Maybe we could pull that up. If we could, you'll see that we haven't reached the death cross yet. We haven't reached the point where the pink line crosses over the green line.
What happens when the death cross? I guess the name implies.
Technical traders will tell you exactly. If you can't figure it out from the name, then you need to
it's bad news.
Rethink your English skills. But I wonder what are technical traders or what are investors telling you about the stock right now?
Well, there seems to be some concern that's being expressed here, and in part because it doesn't seem to be fundamental, really, right? At past times we've had Apple sell off, there's been more fundamental concerns about product. Here, yes, there's some concern about the Apple Watch. There's still some concerns, but these are the same concerns about what's going to be the next big thing for Apple. It seems as though, at least for now, the watch is not it. And there's also concern because of Apple's importance overall in the major averages. Now, Howard Silverblad of Standard & Poor's Dow Jones Indices sent me some fun stats earlier. He's going back to that record that we saw for Apple, which was in February. It was February 23rd. And since then, the S&P, he said, through today, was down about 0.5%. I say February 24th. It was actually February 23rd. So that graphic is wrong. It's 23rd. Anyway, if you exclude Apple, the index is only down 0.1%. So that shows you the importance of Apple. If you look at the S&P IT index, down more than 1.5% since then. If you take it out, it's actually up. So really, you're talking about an enormous weight here. It's 3.6% of the S&P. It's 4.4% of the Dow, which is price weighted. Almost everybody holds Apple in a portfolio somewhere. So when it's down, there's a lot of pain being felt.
Speaking of Apple somewhere, Tim Cook eventually expects that China is going to be the largest market. But with the equities over there taking a hit, look at what it's doing. According to our Bloomberg story, Apple got 17.5% of its revenue from China the last full-year reporting period. Now we're seeing that drop over in China. So
exactly.
The ripple effect is continuing here.
It's weighing on it to some extent, although the Apple bulls, and there will always be Apple bulls out there, are sort of shrugging off the China effect, saying it's not going to have that much of a depressive effect on sales. But I mean, we'll see. If you're a regular person in China holding stocks and now the value of your holdings is worth a lot less, is that going to have an effect on your buying decisions if you're trying to figure out whether to get the next phone?